Sure to check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for everything Royal Caribbean related. RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Happy Monday. Every Monday, I am here with you live on YouTube, hanging out, talking about the most important thing in the whole wide world, which, of course, is going on a Royal Caribbean cruise. So thank you for joining us here. We're going to answer as many Royal Caribbean cruise questions as we can, starting off with the most important question. How many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Type your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. Hopefully, this time when I say that there's 6 more days to my next cruise, hopefully it is accurate and I will be going on a cruise. As many of you probably remember, last week I said 6 days to my next cruise, and unfortunately one of my kids got sick with the flu, so we had to cancel, but we just pushed back. We're going a week later, basically. So welcome. Glad to have you all here. And even before our stream began today, our live stream, we had an epic super chat coming in from Fanfic Rocks. Woo! Thank you, Fanfic. Good day from Australia. I found out that I'm legally blind. Can a travel agent negotiate with Royal Caribbean for things like the single supplement fee, deluxe drink package for myself, and my carer, specialty dining, etc.? Great question. The answer is no. For the single supplement fee, because you're staying in a room by yourself, no. There's just the only option you would have, Fanfic Rocks, is if you booked a studio cabin that has a supplement that doesn't have a single supplement fee, I should say. For things like the drink package, if you're in a room by yourself, you don't have to pay for the second person for the drink package. So, wish granted there. The only time that you get charged double for cruising solo is when you is for the room. And no, there's nothing you can really do about that. It's the way the industry is built, quite frankly. We have another super chat coming in, an epic one from Jabe, dad of North Dakota, I think. Jabe, thank you, Jabe. Thank you for the super chat. Hi, Matt. Thanks for all the great information. Using the Abbott Binax Now COVID-19 AG card test for upcoming cruises. Are they acceptable and reliable? Thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate your generosity. And yes, they are. That's the one, Jabe, that says on the front of the box says, "Do not open," right? Until prompted or something like that. Yes, that's the right one. They are very reliable. I've been using them since fall of last year, and it's the only pre-cruise COVID test I will take now because it's so convenient, so easy. No doubt in my mind, it is the way to go. Love it. Jeff has our next question for us. Cruising from Rome, does the crew prefer we cash them in dollars or euros? It doesn't really matter. I don't think they really care one way or another. They'll take your money, your gratuity, either way. I think US dollars are totally fine. You're not jipping them. You're not shorting them. Everybody takes US dollars, Jeff. So it's not like, you're paying in another currency that they would really have to exchange. US dollars are still king. So I think you're totally good on that front. Let's see here. John Bennett wants to know, going to cruise out of Cape Liberty, are they still enforcing the boarding times? I've heard yes, especially from Cape Liberty. Yep. So Jen wants to know, any pictures from Icon of the Seas? Now, the latest update we had, Jen, was from last week. I'm not sure if you saw it. We actually posted a video right here on our YouTube channel of the construction update for Icon of the Seas. Still very much under construction. And no, Jen, we don't have any, I think you're probably asking, what does it look like when it's going to be finished? And the answer is, we don't know. Royal Caribbean is still not announced yet, which is crazy if you think about it, or at least I think about it. But yeah. We have another super chat coming in. Brad, thank you for the super chat, Brad. I don't see a message from you, so I will keep my eye out for it. By the way, I want to wish everybody a very happy Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S. I know it goes by other names in other places, but we always want to remember what the holiday is about. Of course, people that gave their lives so that nerds like me could talk to you about cruising. So it's an important holiday. It's a 3-day weekend for a lot of people, but it's still you have to remember why you have a 3-day holiday. That's all. So it's always important to take a moment and think about that. Stanley has our next question for us. What happens on a back-to-back cruise? You'll get a letter in your room on cruise number 1 with the instructions. Basically, Stanley, at the end of cruise number 1, you report to a place on board the ship, usually the dining room. They wait for everybody else to get off the ship, and then they take Royal Caribbean escorts you off the ship, gives you new SeaPass cards, brings you back on board. So the last one's off, first one's back on, but Royal Caribbean escorts you throughout the process. And if you have the same room, Stanley, between cruises, you can go right back to your room if you'd like to. So, let's see here. Matt M in the house. Hi, Matt. On Serenade, thought we can meet. What happened? Yeah, unfortunately, my friend, we were planning on going, as you know. My youngest daughter had caught the flu. Might have happened before. She had flu-like symptoms on Thursday of last week. We were supposed to fly out on Friday. Took her to go get a COVID test and a flu test, and the flu test came back positive. So we're like, all right, well, there you go. And so our plan is now, Matt, to still go on 2 weeks on Serenade beginning this week. So unfortunately, couldn't make it there. So Paul wants to know, does RoyalUp have an emergency procedure when you're sick and have to leave the ship? Yes, they do. I mean, obviously it depends on a variety of conditions, but basically being medevaced, Paul, first of all, it's going to cost you. It's out of your pockets, just so you're aware of that. It's not cheap. That's why travel insurance can be so important. But basically, wherever they are, Paul, when I say wherever they are, I mean which country they're near, there's medevac options that are available. The onboard facility, the medical bay, can triage you. They can certainly, try to their best to stabilize things. But if it's an emergency, like something that's really major, they're gonna have to medevac you off the ship. Sometimes they actually will bring the ship back into port. It depends where they are. The answer to your question is the exact plan depends on a variety of conditions, but there are different options that are out there. I wouldn't bet on it, certainly, but here's Brad's super chat. Matt, thanks for the advice on eating Indian food at the Windjammer. I tried it and it was fantastic. Love that. And it changes every night, which is really, really good. Hey, Jay Wanderman, thank you very much. I know you know exactly what it's like when you have a loved one who's young, who luckily, I mean, it wasn't COVID, which was great, but still the flu. And we just decided, listen, first and foremost, I'm not taking my kid through an airport on an airplane and possibly infecting a bunch of other people with the flu. Like, talk about selfish. But then now talking about selfishness, forget that for a second. We would be in close quarters with her on the airplane, in the hotel room, in the car. Like, if we all got sick, what happens then? It's just not enjoyable. So, sometimes you gotta make the tough but responsible choices that are out there. So, Sherry has our next question for us. Are there any kind of strip plugs allowed? I generally don't recommend any of them, Sherry. The reason being, the answer to your question is yes, as long as it's not a surge protector. But here's the problem, Sherry. The security people at the port can't be bothered to figure out whether yours has a surge protector or not. So they just confiscate them all. My advice is to get a USB hub. It's just the easiest way to go, because everything you're going to be charging is probably using USB. Hey, Brogan, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it, buddy. Just got back from your first solo cruise on Odyssey 2 weeks ago. Had an amazing time. Dude, I remember when you were telling about this like months and months and months ago. So glad you're here. You had a great time on the Odyssey of the Seas. Welcome home, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My wishing flower wants to know, is it better to reserve your time for my time dining in advance? I generally think so, yes. I would say that it's probably to your benefit to book it in advance, and that's simply because it assures you of a time. Not to say that you're in a big problem if you don't, but just my recommendation, quite frankly. We have a lot of super chats coming. Holy moly, you guys are generous today. Yari, thank you for the super chat. Going on my first roller cruise in June 2023 on Wonder of the Seas, thinking about getting admission for both the water park and beach club. Would I be able to enjoy both in one day, no kids? I would not recommend that. That's actually a bad idea. I would do one or the other. The reason being, both are great, but you can't take advantage of both of them in one day without shorting one of them or both, quite frankly. So I would say no. Pick one or the other. Spend the day there. Enjoy that. But yeah. Carl wants to know, why doesn't Royal Caribbean ships have bidets? Actually, some ships do have bidets, but they're in the suites. I remember in our Grand Suite on Navigator this season, they definitely had them. So, yep. Curtis wants to know my thoughts on cruising during hurricane season. I love cruising during hurricane season. Number one, there is no guarantee that if you cruise outside of hurricane season, you're not going to have bad weather. So, off the bat, this idea that the weather is going to be worse if you're cruising hurricane season is just a misnomer off the bat. And second of all, the pricing is fantastic during hurricane season. So I say go for it. Robin, thank you for the super chat, Robin. I appreciate it. I don't see a message from you. I'm going to keep an eye out from Robin M. Appreciate it. Adam, thank you for the super chat. A cruise on Oasis in June from New Jersey to Halifax and Fredericton back to New Jersey. Do I need to fill out the arrive can for each Canadian port or just once for the whole trip? Boy, it's a great question. I know in Alaska, if you're coming in, you need one for coming into the country and then one for your port. I think it's one for the cruise, but I'm not sure, Adam, if you have to do it for each port visit or it's good for one. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that one, Adam. I apologize. Maybe someone in our chat knows about this, but you'll definitely have to do it at least once. That's for sure. I almost want to say you have to kind of do it for each port, but I don't know that for a fact, Adam. I'm not afraid to say I don't know in this situation. Footprints of Inspiration, thank you for the super chat. We're on Wonder of the Seas out of Rome, and unfortunately, we won't have access to the app. Where can we reserve shows when we get on the ship? You can go to guest services, and they can help you out. There can also be sometimes you look for on the promenade like a little stand which says entertainment reservations as well. But guest services is your backup in that situation. Hey, Robin M again. Thank you for the super chat. Robin, I don't see a message. Oh, there's a message. Here's Robin's message. Did the waiters know we already prepaid our tips? I believe they have some method of knowing it. I don't know the specifics of it, Robin. It's a great question. Like, I think what Robin is asking, like, well, all right, here's cruise number 1. Here we go. And, it looks like the Smiths have not paid their gratuities. We can, I don't know about that. I honestly don't know how that works, quite frankly. So, but yeah. I appreciate all the kind words, guys, about my daughter. She's fine. She's already, today's her last day in quarantine. We've just been keeping her away so nobody else catches the flu, and fingers crossed that will not happen. I hope not. Anyway, fever's gone. She had Tamiflu. So, it's the flu. It's just, it's just, unfortunately, it came at just absolutely terrible timing. So, Michael Westlake, thank you for the super chat. I think that deserves a woo! Appreciate it, buddy. We had it on Harmony in 6 days with our 10-month-old baby after having our March 2020 cruise canceled due to the pandemic. We couldn't be. I think you mean if you could be more excited than you would. You couldn't be more excited. Just want to say thanks for all the great content and info. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Michael, you may have heard me say this a bazillion times already. I'm going to say it one more time for you. And that is, well, of course, thank you. But also, more importantly, if you're 10-month-old, bring way more baby supplies than you think you need. You can pretty much figure out, all right, 7 nights, I'm going to need this much, diapers, formula, baby food, whatever, right? Yeah, that'd be fine if you were on land. On cruise ships, you use way more for some reason. So I would pack like 25 to 50% more than you reasonably need, because your ability to get resupply can be limited, both either on board the ship or on shore. So yeah, do yourself a favor. That's from personal experience, quite frankly. Chris Carroll, thank you, Christopher, for the super chat. Matt, our flight home from Miami post-cruise just changed to 11:30 a.m. Is that too early? No. If your cruise is out of Miami and you're flying out of Miami International Airport, 11:30 is fine. I would say no, earlier than 11 would be a problem, but 11:30 is fine. Just, Chris, don't dilly-daddle on board the ship. I would probably lean towards, just to be safe. Better to waste time in the airport than freak out in a taxi cab on the way over there. I might, take your own luggage off the ship or try to get a really low luggage tag. If you get a worse number and you want to be off earlier, you can always go to guest services and tell them what you're trying to do, and they can usually accommodate you with a lower number. All right. Time for some more questions here, starting off with the Andrew super chat. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. Are the chairs backs at Spotlight Karaoke on the Oasis of the Seas, and what are the protocols for the buffets? No more protocols for the buffets. Back to normal, Andrew. You serve yourself. And I don't know what you mean. Are the chairs back at Spotlight Karaoke? I assume, Andrew, you might have gone on a cruise last, before March or so. And if so, it's pretty much back to normal. There's no restrictions in that regard, if that's what you're asking. So. Brad also mentioned Mariner has bidets in the suites. Yeah. So I think maybe like Voyager class ships clearly have them. So, yep. I lost my mouse. Hello, computer? There we go. I got it back. Oh, goodness gracious. Fanfic Rocks, again, thank you for the super chat. First of all, thank you for your super chat earlier before the broadcast started. I assume you heard your answer because I gave it to you when we began, but thank you again. And Jules, thank you for the super chat. Welcome. Thank you, and welcome. Here's Jules' question. One of our cruises, September 2023, is going to Canada. It's only 25% sold supplement. And you know what, Jules? I bet you that's because it's not selling very well. Royal Caribbean will use that sometimes as an incentive to help get more people booked on there, and it's usually for sailings that just don't sell all that well. So, as an example, 3 and 4 day cruises to Coco Key, yeah, they're not going to do that for. But a Canada cruise, sure, maybe that's the case. So, Alexandra has our next question for us. Are they still required to be vaccinated to go on a cruise? Yes. If you're above the age of 12, the answer is yes, absolutely. I see Ron Ladowski in the house. Welcome. Dahlia, hi, Matt. Is there any way to save money on a cruise if I'm not eligible for cruise with confidence? Sure. You can always, depending on where you live, Dahlia, if you live in the US, Canada, Australia, not the UK, you can reprice your cruise up until final payment date. So anytime between when you book and final payment, you can always cancel. You can always reprice your cruise. Your travel agent can do that for you. So hope that makes sense. Happy Monday, Andrew. Welcome. It's good to see you. Let's see here. Kimberly, thank you for the answer about for a cruise. So Kimberly says arrived Cannes once for a cruise, docked in Victoria, debarked in Vancouver. So thank you, Kim. That's very, very helpful. I learned something today, and I'm going to need that information in a few days here. So thank you. Vossman wants to, how awesome is an Alaska cruise? Dude, there's nothing like it. It's amazing. I'm going in this weekend on Sunday on Serenade for 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. Can't wait. Super excited. Let's see here. Harry in the house. Huge fan of your channel. Thank you. Random question. Have you ever been recognized by a fan while selling on a cruise? Oh, yes. I'm not to sound pompous or arrogant, like, oh, yeah, all the time, but it happens quite often, which is great. I love it. I love meeting people. The thing I hate, Harry, is when I get back from a cruise and someone sends me a message and they're like, hey, Matt, I saw you on board, but I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, unless I'm yelling at my children, you feel free to say hello. So, Minoska, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Minoska, but I want to say thank you nonetheless. And Bill, also, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, but I will look for it, man. I don't see it, but thank you for your chat. Some people just do super chats. That's very, very kind of you. Of course, super chats are not required. They're not asked for. It's just the option that YouTube provides, and I certainly am not going to say no to them, but it's basically the tip jar here, but you don't have to do the super chat. So, Naima says our next question for us, or Naya. I hope I said your name right. I probably didn't. I have my time dining for my July 4th cruise. That's only for dinner at main dining room. Yes, that's correct. What about breakfast and lunch in the main dining room? How does that work? Breakfast is every day. Lunch is only in the main dining room on C days. And in both situations, you simply show up. There's no reservations. They don't need it. It's not that much demand. So you can simply go there. And when they're open, they'll seat you at the first available table. So pretty easy right there. Oh, Matt's got an update for me on Serenade. Around 2,300 passengers on this sailing. The crew said they will be at 100% by next sailing. Great. Just in time for me. Well, it is what it is. And listen, that's not a surprise. I was hoping for maybe a little less, but we heard about this already a month ago where Royal Caribbean said that they were planning to be 100% by Memorial Day, and here you go. So, question, what are your thoughts about Wonder of the Seas? Me and my boyfriend are thinking about going on her. I love Wonder, man. I had a great time on Wonder. It's a fabulous ship. First of all, you can see our full video tour of it here on our YouTube channel, but it's my favorite Royal Caribbean cruise ship right now. It's just so good. It's got the latest and greatest of everything Royal Caribbean has to offer. I think you're not doing yourself a disservice, quite frankly. Tony Diaz checking in with an epic super chat. Woo! 4 days till elevation. Haven't packed or slept. So I have packed for my cruise because I thought I was going on a cruise last week. So I have it mostly packed already, but I usually don't pack more than, I'm always a day before packer. I never pack more than the night before because first of all, I can't motivate myself to do it. But even if I do it, when I never remember what I actually packed. So I always do it the night before. That's my style. I know some people are probably like having a heart attack about that, but I got to be real with you guys. Ron Ladowski with an epic super chat of his own. Woo! Thank you, Ron. Super chat just because I consider you a great friend. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Ron, you're the best. Thank you. We got another super chat coming in from Mark. Mark, thank you for the super chat. Garrett has a question for us. Do I need a COVID test to get on the ship in July and test to get back to the U.S.? One out of two. You need a COVID test, a negative COVID test, obviously, to get on the ship in July, to get on board, but not to get off the ship. So you're good to go on there. One COVID test for you. Patience, thank you for the super chat. Wonder of the Seas in November. My kid's first cruise, 10 and 16. On Cruise Planner, there are no shore excursions listed for Coco Key. Is this typical? Yeah, you're probably just too far out. But let me tell you this much. They're going to offer a bunch of stuff. You can purchase them, but you don't need to do that. Coco Key has so many great things that are do the complimentary there, but you're probably just too far out. I would check back closer to maybe we are like 6 months out. I would check maybe closer back to like Labor Day or something. They will eventually be there. Not to worry about that. The Teresa McShane. I wonder where I'll be in 3 days. Thank you, Teresa, as always, for your super chat. Congratulations on the new you know what, and that's awesome. Wonder of the Seas, 3 days. I will not be extremely jealous, especially when I get on Serenade, which I'll absolutely love, and Alaska, which I'll love even more. But I'll be a little jealous that I'm not in the Mason Jar Bar every night, because I do love me some Mason Jar Bar music. Faith wants to know, can you use bingo cards for multiple days, or do you have to use them the same day? You got to use them just the same day. You buy them, and after the session is over, they're all gone. They're useless. So, yeah. Copper Teen wants to know, how would you be able to reprice your cruise if all balcony cruises are currently booked? This is example number 179 out of 8 million of why a good travel agent can help you. They have access to some back-end systems that can make it work. So work with a good travel agent is my recommendation for you. Fanfic Rocks again with another epic super chat. You may have to scroll up to see my clarification on my pre-broadcast chat. No, I answered it, Fanfic. Did you not hear it in the beginning? I'll answer it again for you. You can't negotiate the single supplement fee. There's nothing you do about it. The only thing you could do is book a studio room. There's only a few of them on a dozen ships or so. But no, the fact that you have a disability doesn't get you out of the single supplement. It's just the way it is. They would probably tell you, if that's a big problem for you, book a studio room, which are pretty hard to find, quite frankly. In terms of the drink package, unless you have another adult in the room with you, you're cruising solo, so that's not a problem, right? Then you won't have to pay a double for that. If there was somebody in the room with you who who didn't drink, or you didn't drink and they did, you could call Royal Caribbean and get the non-alcoholic drink package. So it's really just a single supplement for the room that they charge you double for cruising solo. Otherwise, there's no other, dining. It doesn't matter at all. So they'll just charge you for one. Let's see here. Kim Oakland with a super chat. Woo! Thank you, Kim. Just booked Enchantment in December. Any advice? I'm looking forward to driving to the port. That's the best part right there. Listen, Enchantment of the Seas, doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Wonder or Freedom or Odyssey or anything like that, but it's about enjoying a relaxing cruise, Kim. Get up in the morning, head up to the pool deck or on your balcony if you got one, and just chill. That's what it's really all about. And of course, taking advantage of wherever you're going in December. I assume you're not going to Bermuda. You're probably going to the Bahamas or something. It's a classic cruise experience. You want to take advantage also of the wonderful entertainment activities on board. You're talking about trivia and the different demonstrations. Those can be fun as well. So Matt pretends not to know me on the cruise. This is accurate. Andrew says, would you recommend Celebrity, which is owned by Royal Caribbean? I don't not recommend them. I've never been on Celebrity cruises, but I've heard nothing but good things about that. So, just want to say that. Hey, Mike Wolf. Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I am way behind on the super chat. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm going to answer Monique's question because it's a good question for people who are new to cruising. How was the check-in process along my first cruise? So, Monique, here's number one. Before the cruise, on the Royal Caribbean app, do everything in the app for check-in. Put your passport information, take a selfie photo, credit card, all that. Do all that. If you do all that, then the process is really easy, Monique. You're going to get to the terminal. You're going to show them your negative COVID test and your set sail pass. They're going to let you in the building. That's when they do the regular check-in process. You go through security. If you do everything in the app beforehand, it goes pretty darn quickly. That's the most important recommendation I can give for you guys. So, Scott Beering. Scott, thank you for the super chat. Hi from Serenade. Hope the family's feeling better. Thank you, Scott. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Hope the weather is amazing. And if it is, then make sure that weather holds out for 2 more weeks because we need it when we get up there. But hope you're having a great time, Scott. Appreciate you, buddy. You are the second person from Serenade on here, including Matt M. So, look for someone else who's watching me right now. Carmen, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from Carmen. Where in the world is Carmen's message to me? I'm sure she's never heard that joke before. Nick K. The Nick K? Or is this another Nick K? Anyway, Nick, thank you for the super chat. Just because we're friends, have a great time in Alaska. So jealous. Nick, you could still book it. I don't know that for a fact. Maybe not. I don't know. But if you could, Nick, you should. If not, we'll have a great time, man. You know what the best part is, Nick? From one guy who sweats too much to another, No sweating in Alaska. How great is that? Comfortable the entire time. I'm just saying. Let's see here. Mario Pena. I love your voice. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Smokey Bandit, who will be on my cruise next week, assuming we both make it up there. 6 more days till Serenade of the Seas. Brother, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to if you introduce yourself, please do not introduce yourself as your name. You got to use Smokey Bandit. If you say, hey, it's Bob, be like, hey, Bob, how's it going? If you're Smokey Bandit, then I'll know who you are. Hopefully, safe travels. Hopefully, nobody gets the flu next to you as well. And we'll see you up there, friend. Evelyn, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from Evelyn or Carmen. I missed Carmen's message. I see a message from Carrie, but not Carmen. No message from Evelyn. I'm looking, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you guys for your generosity. I appreciate you guys. Damien has our next question for us. I haven't seen the drink package go below $72.99. It's $68.99 per day, the lowest price. Damien, it doesn't matter. There is no bottom or top price. The price varies from ship to ship and sailing to sailing. So if Smokey Bandit in our chat said, hey, Damien, I got the drink package for whatever, less than you're paying, there is no guarantee or indication that you will see the same price for your cruise. It doesn't matter. So my advice to you, Damien, is if you know you're getting the drink package, book it now, lock in the price. If there's a better price tomorrow, next week, anytime between now and your cruise, you can cancel and rebook the drink package with no penalty. But the reason why you want to book it now is the price sometimes goes up. So book it now, guard against a price increase, still be able to take advantage of a price decrease. So hope that makes sense. Steven wants to know, how far in advance would you recommend ordering the test from eMed? A month or two ahead of time is totally fine. You can order, they're good for basically a year, but a month or two ahead of time is fine. Keith wants to know, in the event of bad weather, is there a refund issue for Cocoa Key Water Park? Generally not. Royal Caribbean has no control over the weather. There's, and generally speaking, there's two issues here, Keith. Number one, what's the definition of bad weather? Like cloudy? Probably say, no, man, that's silly. Well, some people might argue with you on that one. If it rains an hour, is that bad weather? 2 hours? 4 hours? You still got another 4 hours to go. So basically, as a policy, no, they don't. Certainly, if it was an all-day soaker, have I heard of them giving out refunds? Yes. But it's not a policy or a expectation that you should have going into it. So I just want to set the right expectation right there. Ron Ladowski says, should I book Mason Jar for multiple days on Wonder of the Seas? I would definitely do brunch and dinner, Ron. The menu is different enough that I would say it's worthwhile. So, yeah. Jules, thank you again for the super chat. 42 days till Quantum to Alaska Studio balcony. Nice. Michael has our next question. Is it common now to test positive after cruise when we get home? Common? No. Has it happened? Does it happen? Yes. Common would infer the whole ship's getting it, which is not the case right there. But your question, Michael, about how long may we be stranded in Europe if we do translate test positive on arrival, I can't answer that. I wouldn't know. Basically, you need to be not testing positive anymore, which for some people is a matter of days, could be longer. It depends on the situation. I certainly can't promise you. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. But common, no. Are there more cases? And we've talked about this before in our videos and on RoyalCaribbeanblog.com. There are more cases on happening right now than there were in March and April. And that's because if you look anywhere in society right now, we're seeing that. There's another, I don't want to call it a wave, but it's another surge of cases. We're seeing this. The good news is it's, every wave is not as virulent or not as, COVID is not as strong. It's not like the Alpha or Delta variants, which are really strong. This, it gets a little weaker, but it's still COVID, right? But, there's risk involved, but there's risk involved with everything. I would argue that I know I feel way more nervous going into a movie theater right now than I do on a cruise ship, because I don't know, people, do they have COVID? Did they have COVID yesterday? And now this is the first day they're not coughing, all the time. I don't know. You know what I mean? But common is not the word I would use. No, I think that's false. Again, are there more cases than there were a month or two ago? Yes, I think that's very accurate to say. But it's not to say that you get on a cruise where you're definitely going to get COVID. You know what I mean? And certainly remember the fact that there's a pre-cruise COVID test certainly helps mitigate that to some extent. There's no 100% guarantees out there, guys, right? We all know this. There's no way to completely stop it, but there are ways you can slow it down. And that's what really makes me feel better about going on a cruise. Now, I've said this last week, and I'm still doing that. My plan going forward is, even though Royal Caribbean does not require masks on board, I will be wearing my N95 mask, which is right here, when I get on board the ship. And I'll be wearing it indoors, not outdoors. That's silly. But indoors I will, because I'm going to be on the cruise for 2 weeks. I'm going to Alaska. Alaska is not a cruise I go to all the time. I want to do everything I can to mitigate my risk so I can enjoy the cruise and not have any issues. And that's my decision. There's probably people who wouldn't do the same thing I'm doing. That's okay too. But I'm just sharing my personal opinion. And that's based on piggybacking what we talked about just now, which is, the fact that there are more cases than, if we had done this cruise in March, well, it sure would be cold in Alaska, but I would not have the same answer there. CMT Beat Drops, thank you for the super chat. If you're 12 or below, do you have to order off the kids menu, especially dining? No, you don't have to. You can, but they can order off the adult menu. It's up to them. They really, the crew does not care one way or another. So, hope that makes sense. Keith wants to know, do I only go on Royal Caribbean cruises? Pretty much, yeah. These days, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Again, it's my job. I use air quotes, but it really is my job. I just feel silly saying that. So, yeah, primarily. Let's see here. Lucky123, do they have Disney shows and movies and stateroom TVs? Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Depends on the it's kind of like going on an airplane, Lucky. Sometimes they have Disney stuff on the rotation, sometimes they don't. It's kind of hit or miss. I'll take a drink of water here. Is Sabor all you can eat? Yes, they made that change a number of years ago, Seabass. So yes. Don Morris, what's up, man? Brilliance versus Serenade. What's your choice, or is it a wash? It's a wash. They're basically the same ship. Not only the fact they're Radiance class, but they both have similar amenities. I mean, I'm going on Serenade here next week, so I'll be able to give you a better answer. But my understanding is they're pretty much the same. So whichever one is closer to you, right there. Nick, let me know what you find there with your little adventure into booking last minute cruise yet again. Kenny K wants to know, does Star Class always include a genie? Yes, it does. But I am not the genie. Commas are important. Tim Tucker wants to know, when do you get a notice offer on RoyalUp? Usually after final payment date, you start getting those emails. Tim, you can always check on your own. If you go to Royal Caribbean's website, right on the homepage, there's a link towards the bottom for RoyalUp, and you can enter your reservation number, I think, and some other data, and they can let you know if you have an issue, if there's something available or not. Robert Jaworski is here. Hello, Robert. It is good to see you. Welcome. Michael Wagner wants to know, how do the crew members know you have the drink package? Do I have an example? Yes. Let me show you an example, Michael. All sorts of dust on this one. So here's my card from Odyssey of the Seas, in which, by the way, Nick, who's in chat, probably saw this card quite a bit because we were drinking a lot. Right there, bam, whoop, beverage package. Whoop. It says deluxe beverage package on here. In addition, Michael, when they scan it, they can see you have a drink package. So that's how they know. Let's see here. We have a super chat from Evelyn. Evelyn, I missed your super chat. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Having trouble getting a check-in time on the app. I'm 32 days for my cruise. Couple things, Evelyn. If you're trying it on your phone through the app, which is what you should be doing, and you're having some issues, have you tried on the website? You can get a check-in time on the website, just logging into your account and doing it about that way. That would be the next thing I would do. Option number 3 is to obviously use someone else's device. If you have another iPad, if you have a family member's phone, you could install the Royal Caribbean app, log into their account, go in, do all that, and then log back out and do all that. Also, Evelyn, make sure you have the latest version of the Royal Caribbean app on your phone. So go, if you have the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, and make sure there's no updates waiting for you. So, hey, Nick from Singapore in the house. What's up, Nick? Good to see you, buddy. Any idea when Royal will release China sailings? I think if that's what you're asking, Nick, I think the answer really depends on the Chinese government, and it's more that it's not Royal Caribbean's wish or not. It's kind of like Australia, right? They didn't have cruises in Australia for quite a while. That's because the Australians banned them, and then all of a sudden they didn't, and now cruises are back. So, yep. Big C, is there more than one area to smoke on Ovation of the Seas? Yep. The pool deck and in the casino. Let's see here. Tobin, are you still worried about COVID-19? I'm worried that I don't want it to ruin my cruise, man. You know, if I get sick or somebody in my family gets sick, right, then we have to quarantine. I don't want to, I'm on a cruise. I want to enjoy it. So I'm not worried about it in the sense that I think I'm going to die from it. I am worried about it in the sense that I'm going to be quarantined from it and I want to be able to enjoy my cruise. And wearing a mask is really not a big deal. It's pretty easy. And when you're in somewhere that's pretty cold, like Alaska, it's actually an advantage in a lot of cases. Down here in Florida where it's hot, it's not comfortable, but listen, it's a small thing that I'm personally deciding to do, right? That's what we're about, personal liberties and all that, right? Isn't that what it's all about? So, maybe not mocking other people is the right way to go about it and respect other people's decisions. And if you don't want to do it, Tobin, totally fine, man. Me personally, again, if this were a Caribbean cruise, I probably wouldn't be doing it because I really don't care if we don't go to Cozumel for the 800th time, right? I love Cozumel and I'd love to go to Cozumel. I'm not going to lose that much sleep over it, but Alaska's a big deal. I am flying across the country, spending a lot of money to go into, to do all this trip. And I can't just snap my fingers and go back again. Oh, I'll go back next month. It doesn't work that way. That's not practical. So, for me, my risk analysis says this is the right thing to do. And that's my opinion on it. And I'm not saying that you all should do that. I'm just sharing my personal opinion because somebody else asked me about that. So think about that more. Let's see here. Yep. Smokey Bandit says, the only way not to get COVID on a cruise is not to go on a cruise at all. But where's the fun in that? Right. And listen, nothing is risk-free. I recognize that. I'm the first one to recognize that. But I still want to go on a cruise. So this is the happy medium for me. And I'll have a great time no matter what. And we're planning on spending a lot of time outdoors anyway. So it's all good. Crystal going to Bermuda on enchantment. What's the best do-it-yourself thing to do in Bermuda? Oh, no doubt, Crystal. Hop on the public bus and go to Horseshoe Bay Beach. Super easy, very economical. Definitely the way to go about it. So, Scott says, heads up. It seems that most people are not masking up on Saturday. Oh, I believe that. I think we're going to be the weirdo oddballs out. I know that 100%. That's okay. This is not I'm not running for popularity contest or something. I don't know. I don't that doesn't factor into my decision. This is about me, not other people. And that's fine. I really don't care. So, Michael, we're going on Serenade of the Seas. We're going to be on 2 Serenade of the Seas cruises coming up, which is great. Let's see here. Ooh, Linda has an interesting point here. Please let your audience know that when Canadians cancel the drink package to get a price, we always lose money. The credit card company gives you back a lower exchange rate. Is that right? I wonder. That's unfortunate. Obviously, maybe because it depends on the exchange rate at the time. Linda, I know you as Canadians can book cruises in US dollars, which may or may not be a benefit to you. I wonder if there is a way, or I'll have to ask some friends of mine. I'm thinking of Sabrina, who's one of our moderators, if there's a way around this. I'm gonna have to ask her about this, Linda, because I did not know this was a thing. Now, granted, if it's if the exchange rate drops, a couple cents, is that really gonna make a big difference? No, but you are entitled to a full refund, the exact money you paid, right? I understand that. So I don't know. But that's interesting. I was not aware of that one. Amelia says, I've heard you talk about the RoyalUp program a few times. I don't see it in the cruise planner. How do you use it? No, it's not in the cruise planner. RoyalUp is the bidding for a stateroom upgrade program. I should probably do a video about this when I get back from Serenade. Someone to remind me, Amelia or somebody else. But basically, you place a bid. So you go to Royal Caribbean's website. You'll see something called RoyalUp, Amelia. You can only do this once you're past final payment date for your cruise. And basically, they're saying, Amelia, hypothetically, how much would you pay to upgrade your room? There may not actually be a room upgrade available, but if there was, how much would you pay for it? And basically, you pick the room categories and you say, I would pay this amount of dollars per person. And if you do so, if you elect to do so, and that room is available, then whoever has the highest bid would then qualify for that room and automatically be upgraded. You don't get to pick the room number. They just give it to you. But that's essentially how it works. And theoretically, it's cheaper than if you went to your travel agent and said, I'd like to book that room instead, right? So there's a lot more to it, but that's the real basics right there. Chip Gaines in the house. Had to cancel my Alaska cruise this June. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Thinking of booking a 10-night Alaska cruise tour next June. That would definitely be the way to go. That's talk about getting your money's worth out of that trip. Love it. EM Media, thanks for reminding me about the drink package. I checked my March New Zealand cruise and it's 30% off today. Only so that has been booked. Great. Glad to hear. That's awesome. Fantastic. Sherry wants to know, is there free coffee? There is free coffee. There's coffee that costs extra, Sherry, like, lattes and macchiatos, but black coffee, absolutely. Yes, 100%. Let's see here. Do the cruise ships have internet cafe for internet use? They do. They're usually pretty ratty machines. I wouldn't recommend them, RR. I would bring your own, bring an iPad, bring your phone, but they do have them, but whether or not they work, I can't promise you that. And more importantly, it's not exactly the most modern pieces of technology you've ever seen. I would bring your own, quite frankly, if it were me. Kiara is a good question. Which is better, Blue Lagoon or Pearl Island? I have been to Blue Lagoon. I know our YouTube editor, Jenna, has been to Pearl Island. I'm not sure which is better. I certainly, man, I don't know. That's a great question. If you want to do animal encounters, I would probably do Blue Lagoon. If you're just looking for a beach day, maybe Pearl Island for that matter. But they're both good choices. So, let's see here. Nicholas is going on a cruise in 11 days. Is there random stuff that most people, including me, forget? Sunscreen, hat, sunglasses. Those are things that people easily forget. When you get on board the ship, Nick, what you want to do is connect to the Wi-Fi. But you don't need an internet package to use Royal Caribbean's app. So just connect to the Wi-Fi, open up the Royal Caribbean app, book your entertainment. That's probably my other piece of advice right there. So, Blair Fox Love in the Blair Show. Thank you for the super chat. I'm so glad I caught you live. I love seeing my picture, and I'll be on Wonder of the Seas, Barcelona, June 19th. Question 1, will Effectors 2 be running? Don't know for a fact yet. I know the plan is this summer, but I can't promise you that we have a date yet for your sailing, so I don't know. Question 2, can I get a free COVID test on the ship to return home to the U.S.? No. They stopped doing that a little while ago. So you're going from Barcelona. My advice, Blair, is get those eMed home tests that I always recommend using. Bring it with you to Europe, right? An extra one or two. And then take the test, either in your cabin before you leave the ship, in the airport, wherever. But do that instead. That'd be my recommendation for you on that. So thank you. Where are my manners here, Blair? Woo! Thank you for the epic super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see here. Scott Travis says, I'm 50 years old and my parents don't want me to get the deluxe drink package because they say it's for alcoholics. Is that true? No, I used to think the same thing, Scott, that who could possibly drink that much? It's not for alcoholics, but it's certainly you're going to be indulging on your cruise. And that's all it is, an indulgence. I mean, here's the thing. To break even on a drink package, you could, have a Bloody Mary for breakfast, 2 or 3 drinks at the pool in the afternoon, a drink with dinner, and a drink after dinner. I don't think that's the definition of alcoholic. I think that's more than you would probably drink at home, but you're also not on vacation at home. So I think that's really the mantra there. So there is absolutely, Scott, a reasonable expectation for using the drink package and not feeling like you're a lush. So I think that's the important thing. Now, can you say, well, you don't need to drink all those drinks that I just mentioned there? Okay, then don't get the drink package. But if that sounds like a reasonable scenario for you, why not? You're on vacation. Casey, thank you for the super chat. Does Symphony of the Seas offer wristbands as an alternative using the key cards? No, unfortunately not. Royal Caribbean has not brought back the WOW bands yet. So unfortunately, I don't know why, but they have not, which I would really love for them to be able to do, but no. Let's see here. Next question. Ooh, Sandy has our next question for us. Hey, Matt, love your tips. Thank you. Any idea when Alaska will be released for 2024? Usually they release new itineraries in the end of the year, right around November, December. So while we don't know this for a fact, Sandy, I would expect it probably around end of November, early December, something like that. Rose says, on your Alaska cruise, are you doing the land tour also? I'm not. I'd love to. We thought about that after the fact. We booked the cruise and then we thought, we could have done that. But no, I will. Rose, it's on my to-do list. I would love to be able to do that there. So, Brett wants to know, are you allowed to vape in the room or balcony? Nope, you're not allowed to. You got to vaping, smoking, e-cigs, whatever. It's all has to be in the smoking designated areas. So, and Brett says, solo travelers are penalized. I mean, to some extent, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the model for cruise ship pricing is based on double occupancy. It's always been that way. I know it's like a lame answer, just because it's always been, but this is the path to profitability. They are a company. Let's not forget, Brett. And that doesn't make you feel any better about it, obviously. But at the same time, it's the reality that it is. And that's why I'm just trying to keep it as real as I can with you. I mean, yeah, you're paying more because you want to call it a penalty. Sure, knock yourself out on that. But it's just the way it was right there. So Jennifer says, I'll be masked too. We can be weird together. And I don't think it's weird. It's just, we're just making our own decisions. That's what we're adults. That's what we're allowed to do there. So nothing wrong with that. We don't go around mocking other people based on, you're eating chicken nuggets. Don't you know the steak is better? Not the same thing, obviously, but how about not mocking other people? How about respecting other people's decisions, right? Absolutely. Alaska was not cold at the ports, highs in the 60s. Oh, Jim, you are not from Florida. To me, well, I love it. My wife, that's cold, okay? For Floridians, that's cold, but I'm excited for it. So it's relatively speaking, it's cold. I don't think it's going to be 30 degrees, obviously. But also, I bet you, Jim, that's high temperatures. What's the temperature in the morning, in the evening, right? So, but anyway, that's great. I mean, 60s are very, very comfortable outside. Craig says, went to Sabor on Liberty, placed our order, and the maitre d' proceeded to have everything on the menu brought out to us. We were uncomfortable for 2 days, but it was good. Nice, dude. That is awesome. Love that. Fanfic Rocks with another question. For a first-time cruiser for Royal Caribbean, is a 7-night overseas trip to South Pacific a great idea? If you're from Australia, right? I guess it depends, obviously. I don't think it's a bad idea. Would I recommend that someone here from the United States go on overseas for a long South Pacific cruise as their first one? I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bad idea. If you say, Matt, I want to do my first cruise, I'm going to do a South Pacific cruise. Sure, knock yourself out. It's a great idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just not what I would recommend off the bat. I think for first-time cruisers, 7 nights is a good option. You get a good variety of sea days and port days. The problem with longer cruises, especially longer than 7 nights, is you typically get a lot of sea days, which can be a bit of a turnoff for first-time cruisers. So, again, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a great idea. It wouldn't be my first recommendation, but that doesn't mean it's a bad idea either. Hey, Lee, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. I don't see your message here, Lee. Looking for your but Lee, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate you. Seabass, what do I do in St. Kitts? I go to the beach. There's a great train tour if you want something that's not the beach. Train tour or the beach right there. Let's see. Katie wants to know, are many kids wearing masks in Adventure Ocean? We'd like our kids, depending on the case numbers, but don't want them to be the only ones. Obviously, it'll vary from sailing to sailing, Katie. I don't think the last cruise I was on, they still required masks in Adventure Ocean. I can let you know when we go on Serenade, but again, Katie, just because like one cruise has a lot and the other one may not, you know what I mean? If I had to guess, Katie, if you say, Matt, just give me a guess, give me a ballpark idea, and I would say probably most are not, but that's just a guess based on what I've seen in my kids' schools as an example. So, have I ever seen anybody miss the ship at the port? I don't think I've ever actually witnessed with my own eyes somebody being left behind. I've seen plenty of YouTube videos about it, but let's see here. Next question. We have some super chats over here. Hold on a second, guys. I got to catch up with the super chats coming in with Fanfic Rocks. First time cruiser for Australia, which is better, Enchantment or Ovation? Ovation. It's just a newer ship. There's more to do. It's going to be more impressive for first time cruiser. So, yeah. Les says, I just became recently Diamond. I usually could not even drink the 4 free drinks. Then a drink package is not for you, my friend. Congratulations on becoming Diamond. Love it. Yep, Pam, couldn't said it better myself. That's probably the more concise way I should have said it earlier. Absolutely. Diane says, I don't feel penalized. I cruise all the time and I never felt penalized. I don't want to share my room. I'm with you on that. I'm not a sharer either. So, yep. Ryan, for my first Alaska cruise, for the last cruise, should be leave from Vancouver, Seattle. If it's your first cruise to Alaska and you're from the US, Ryan, go to Seattle. It's just easier. Vancouver's a better itinerary, arguably, but I would go out of Seattle if it's your first cruise. It's just so much easier to cruise out of Seattle. Afterwards, then do the Vancouver one. Let's see here. Hey, Chantel is here. Chantel, I didn't see you earlier. I agree with Matt. Just off Wonder in Barcelona. Also, book tests at airport, but they fill up quickly. Yep. And like I said, I would bring the tests that you get from the EMED test. Quite frankly, personally, that'd be my choice. Hey, Russ, what's up, man? 35 days to Alaska adventure on Quad. I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you, my friend. Hope you as well. Cannot wait. So excited for it. Does Florida warm weather resident even have the right clothes for last cruise? We have Amazon here. We can buy them stuff. Actually, we have it's not an Amazon. We get most of our clothes from for cold weather from Columbia and North Face. And jeans, right? But really for the jackets and things like that. There's luckily a number of Columbia and North Face outlets here in Orlando. So yeah, we'll be properly attired on that one. Amelia, thank you for the super chat. I booked a solo cruise on Oasis in October and also booked the dining package. Is it okay for me to get a whole table alone, or will you get mad at me? No, it's totally fine. Just you might have to request one. But no. And if you booked, hold on a second. If you booked, the dining package. No. They're going to put you, if you're going to a specialty restaurant, they're going to put you by yourself. The only exception, Amelia, two exceptions. Well, it wouldn't work the dining package. So one exception, that is Azumi Hibachi. Otherwise, you'll be seated by yourself anyway. So totally expected. And Russ, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you. You don't have to do that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Joanne Griffith, who was literally down the road from me at the movie theater earlier. Here's my experience doing the COVID test. Flying back to the U.S., we took our own Abbott kit test from EMED, did the test in our cabin the day before disembarking. We had backup appointments at the Rome airport. This is a great strategy for anybody who's doing overseas travel and is worried about that. So, yep. Jonathan wants to know, can gratuities be taken out of the bill? Yes. When you get on board the ship, you can go to guest services. Now, let me say this, Jonathan. I know I'm not saying you're inferring this, but I'm just going to put this out there for everybody. Yes, you can take gratuities out of your charges by going to guest services, but you can only do that with the understanding that you are going to pay those same people the gratuities in cash. Some people prefer that. They just like paying cash for whatever reason. Totally fine. But you should not be going to guest services to take gratuities out in order to make your cruise cheaper. Okay. You may not agree with the gratuities. I'm not saying this is you, Jonathan. I'm just putting this for everybody. You may not agree with the fact that gratuities are compulsory and part of the cruise, experience, if you will. That's fine. I'm kind of with you. I think it should be part of the cruise fare, and they shouldn't have this distinction between the two. But until that changes, you are obliged to pay gratuities. Just, it's my opinion, but that's the fact of life. And if you're stiffing people who are working really hard, like your room attendants, your dining room staff, you're doing them a major disservice, and it's insulting, quite frankly. So, absolutely, you can take gratuities off your account by going to guest services. Again, with the understanding you can pay gratuities cash, totally fine. So, hope that makes sense. And again, Jonathan, I'm not singling you out. If I just answer your question that way, you get all sorts of, I don't want to give the wrong understanding. Susan Westfall, thank you, Susan, for the super chat. We'll be masking on the Mariner Group Cruise because we don't have a cruise from Copenhagen. Oh, wait, because we have a cruise from Copenhagen less than a month after we disembark, don't want to risk having to cancel that cruise. And there you go. Listen, Susan, my hope, based on every wave we've seen, especially Omicron, is that you got like 6 weeks where it gets pretty bad, right? And then it goes back really quick. And my hope is that by July, we're going to see this come back down again. Because really, I don't know where the peak, I don't look at numbers or anything, but it seems like we're probably right at the top now. I'm going to guess, I don't know, right around there. So figure, 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, I would hope we would be in a better scenario. But hey, I don't blame you, So, RR, you are very welcome. Where is Josh Carruthers? Josh Carruthers is on board the fabulous Oasis of the Seas, and he might be at a bar right now. Kristen, thank you for the super chat. Have you ever swam with the pigs at Cookie? I have not. My YouTube editor, Jenna, has, Kristen. She said it was fun. It's interesting. It's very short. I mean, it is like, over in a heartbeat, Kristen. But it's a fun thing to do. If it sounds like you'd enjoy it, you'd enjoy it. Just keep one thing in mind, Kristen. One thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying the pigs being animals, wild animals at that, feral, they don't mind letting nature take its course, especially when you're feeding them. Food goes in, something else comes out. It's pretty common. You're in the ocean. Hey, Sarah, Sarah. I'm just saying something to keep in mind. Oh, goodness. Raphael wants to know, how long before the sailing is it best to book a cruise? Great question. My advice is as early as you possibly can. The earlier you book your cruise, the better. Prices tend to go up over time. So try to book it as early as possible. Tukes in the house. Wonder or Harmony? I'd book Wonder. I mean, I've been on both. I don't know if you've been on both, but I pick Wonder. They're both great. If you went on Harmony, Tukes, $300 more. Sometimes you just want to be on the latest and greatest, right? Harmony's neither of them are going anywhere, but I prefer Wonder. But Harmony is absolutely fantastic. I love both ships, so it really is a flip a coin kind of situation. Sean Hill, Freedom of the Seas. Right now it's going out of which terminal? Port Everglades. Actually, right now it goes out of Miami, not Port Everglades. But if it does go out of Port Everglades, it's probably Terminal 18. Garrett, I want to go on the 2023 Navigator group cruises. MEI find cabin mates save money. They don't, because of course, what happens if your cabin mate ends up being, you don't get along with them, right? So no, it'd be up to you to do that. Al Key, thank you for the super chat. When is Royal Caribbean doing Bora Bora Fiji cruises again? They're going to be restarting. I know Australia just like today allowed cruises ships back in there. After the Alaska cruise season, Al, they'll be bringing ships back down there. So I believe that's October, November timeframe. So, yep, there you go. And Josh Carruthers is here. Josh has found his way out of the pub. Oh, he's still in the bar. See, I was right before. We asked where Josh was at the bar. No judgments here. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying probably accurate. Jose, thank you for the super chat. Why can't we reserve My Time Dining on the app? I don't know, but you can definitely do it in the Royal Caribbean Cruise Planner website, Jose. So go to RoyalCaribbean.com, log into your account, go to the Cruise Planner. You'll be able to book it over there. So problem solved. Just somewhere else you have to go. Why? They should be in both, but yeah. Desiree Hall, thanks for the super chat and a banana. I appreciate that. I need some more potassium in my diet. So a virtual banana probably, yeah. Swimming in bacon is probably better than swimming with the pigs. There you go. Nice. Tim wants to know, what are the disadvantages of different dining times? Is 5:30 too early, not giving enough time for excursions? Is 8 too late, causing you to miss shows or events? Basically, you nailed it. 5:30 is usually perceived as too early, meaning you have to get ready for dinner earlier. The problem with 8 o'clock, I think more so, is that people feel like when you're done with dinner, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock, like maybe not that late, 10 o'clock, right? Like you're done with dinner, it's like the evening's over kind of thing. I don't know. It's more personal preference, Tim. The good thing about either 5:30 or 8 traditional dining is there are show times that run opposite of both, so you don't have to worry about that. I think it's truly the 5:30 is a little too early, 8 is a little too late, and essentially that's what most people kind of think about right there. We have time for a couple more questions, guys. We got to head on out of here. Carmen, thank you for the super chat. But not San Diego. Sorry. I know. I'm sure you have their joke like 1,000 times, Carmen. I know. It's like cliched, but I couldn't help myself. 230 days on my first cruise, the Western Caribbean on Oasis. Can we get our passports stamped at each port? No. I mean, you can't. Well, yes and no. The answer is no. You're not going to get. You can't like walk off the ship and here you go, Carmen. You could, I think, go to like a post office or something like that and maybe get it done there, but typically no. The only place I've ever gotten my passport stamped on a cruise was in Cuba. That's because we had to walk through immigration. But for like Caribbean cruises, I don't even think they do in Europe in addition. So generally the answer is no. So yeah, which stinks. I know you'd like to have a little memento, right? Dave and Sherry, thanks for the super chat. Thanks. Just a quick thanks for all you do. Took your suggestions and thoroughly enjoyed his Harmony, his Zoomy, Park at the Terminal, and so much more. You demand. Thank you so much, Dave and Sherry. That is awesome. And those are all things that I thumbs up all the way. So fantastic. Jordy wants to know, are there any benefits for platinum members on Symphony? Yeah. So when you get on board the ship, Jordy, you will have a letter in your stateroom with various discounts that you get for being a platinum member. So look for it in your cabin. It's going to be right on that desk in your room, and it'll be waiting for you over there. So, and Danny DiMatteo with a super chat. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see here. I see Tony made a joke at my expense. I missed it over there. All right, time for another question or two. We're already at 1 hour here, so I'm going to ask one more question. And that is from Carla, who wants to know, can you go over the passport versus birth certificate in a closed loop cruise? Absolutely, Carla. If you're an American citizen on a closed loop cruise from the U.S., meaning, Carla, your cruise leaves from a U.S. port, like Port Everglades, wherever, right? And comes back to Port Everglades. Same port, U.S., you're a U.S. citizen. You can cruise with a birth certificate if it's the original birth certificate with the raised seal and then a state issued form of ID, like a driver's license. That would be okay. You're going to go in a different line. It's going to take a little bit longer, both getting on and getting off the ship, but it is possible to do. I would advise you, of course, to do a passport every time. Yes, it costs money. It's worth it. It lasts for 10 years. You can use it when you're not actually on a cruise. You can take regular travel, right? So there are other benefits beyond just cruising, but I understand. But anyway, closed loop, U.S. citizen, passport, birth certificate with the raised seal, not a copy, not a reproduction, not a fax, the real deal right there. And Sandra coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Sandra. 9 days till British. I guess it's not the last question. 9 days till British Isles cruise on Jewel, traveling solo, but wondering if I have a table to myself in the main dining room. Massive introvert. You could request one. Here's what I would do, Sandra. Since your cruise is in 9 days, two things I would do. One, I would, right after this broadcast, I would send an email to rcldining@rccl.com. So RCL, Romeo Charlie Lima, dining, one word, at rccl.com. And I would put in there your request. You're Sandra Hutchinson. You're going on Jewel of the Seas on this date. Give them the exact date. Tell them your reservation number and which dining you're doing. If you're in traditional dining, right? If you have my time, Sandra, you don't have to do any of this. Just simply show up and wait for a table for one. Totally fine. The other thing you want to do, Sandra, regardless if you send that email or not, is speak to the maitre d' on day one. So, go down to speak to the head waiter in the afternoon and just verify that you have a table for one. You put a request in via email. Sometimes they don't get that email. But that's for the request via email thing I'm talking about and talking to the maitre d'. That's for traditional dining. If you have a 5:30 or an 8 o'clock dinner time. If you're doing my time, you don't have to do this. Just simply when you get over there, you'll say, hey, can I please get a table for one? And they may say, okay, Miss Sandra, you're going to have to wait a little longer for one. You say, okay, no problem at all. That's fine. So, Ron Ladowski. Thank you, Ron, for the super chat. Thank you, Matt. It's the Patron speaking. I love when Patron speaks to me. Even better. And last question coming to us, because the next one I'm not repeating the name from. 3 pros and cons for Enchantment and Ovation. Ovation is just newer. Enchantment is cheaper. Ovation has more to do. Enchantment is cheaper. Ovation has more dining and activities on board. Enchantment is cheaper. Oh, well, actually, that's not true. That's not fair. Enchantment is cheaper, but also it can possibly get into other ports that Ovation cannot. So that's fair. All right. So there's more to do on Ovation. There's a lot more activities on Ovation, but Enchantment will be cheaper, and Enchantment will get you into more ports. Possibly. Depends on the itinerary. So, is the key worth the money? It is not worth the money, in my opinion. I don't think so. I think it sounds better than it is. So, yep. Good stuff there. All right, guys. Well, on that note, I'm going to end things here. We're already over an hour. Hopefully, please, a week from now, I'll be talking to all of you guys from Alaska on the Serenade of the Seas, or wherever we're going to be. I'm not sure. But we'll hopefully be live with you guys next week and the following week from Alaska. Hope for the best. Nobody else gets sick in our family. Anyway, If you have more questions about Royal Caribbean, please feel free to go type your questions over on our message boards at RoyalCaribbeanblog.com, or hey, we'll be live one way or another right here on YouTube. So hope you all have a great rest of your week. Happy Memorial Day weekend. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.